Survivor's ready. Go!
Travis spoken.
Boston Rob and Amber are gonna do it.
This is a business trip, as I like to say.
You, Brad Culpepper.
I'm tired of you and the fucking chicken.
You can call me the puppet master. They can be my little puppets.
It's not like you're making a deal with the devil here.
You get to milk your own milk, I guess.
Who the hell voted for me?
Chicken.
We got enough rocks here, too. We could build a pretty decent shelter just using rocks.
I'm supposed to talk Lime, or you? You understand that better?
Direct from Hobart, it's time for the only Survivor podcast in Australia dedicated to Survivor, bringing you all the latest interviews, episodes, and opinions from the greatest reality show on the planet. It's Survivor Oz, and here's your host, Ben Waterworth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Survivor Oz, Australia's only Survivor podcast, and soon to be the number one podcast covering Australian Survivor, coming in 2016, Channel 10. Very exciting news. At the time of recording, we found out that about 4 hours ago, and it's been on all of our minds. Well, not any of my co-hosts here's minds, because it's about 4:30 in the morning there. But for me, I'm having a party by myself. There's no fellow Australians here, but that's right. Channel 10 will be having their own version of Australian Survivor in the second half of 2016. So that's very exciting. And Ben doesn't even get to announce the news. No. My name is Noah, and we are talking about Survivor Cambodia, Episode 9, titled Witch's Coven, or Coven, if you're Kimmy Kappenberg. I'm not sure if that's an American thing or just a Kimmy thing, but yeah, we're here to dissect and discuss the episode. Once again, Ben is chasing his cats. I don't know where they are, but hopefully he finds them. I've got 4 Ozlets joining me to talk about the episode, all from places that are not Australia. So to start off, he is clearing his snow, and he's very excited about Australian Survivor. Colin, welcome back.
Yeah, I read about Australian Survivor 20 minutes ago, and it has just dominated every conversation I've had over the last 20 minutes. So I'm equally as excited as all the other non-Australians on the show today.
Yeah, just to put this into context before we got on, because this is not live, I've just been pretty much having a one-sided conversation with these 4 people about Australian Survivor, because there's no one else here to share my excitement. Paddy G, Mr. Wonky Clock, welcome back.
Thank you, Noah. I'll share my excitement for you. I don't know.
You sound very excited.
Oh, I sure am.
And also joining us from probably second, maybe third Oztopsy of the season, it is Gabe Swenson. Gabe, welcome back.
Yeah, I'll take any of those. Hello, everyone.
Are you excited
Hello,
for Australian Survivor, Gabe?
I'm not thinking about it too much, but I'm excited for all you guys.
He joined the call late, so he has no context here.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There's an Australian Survivor coming out, if you didn't know, Gabe.
I saw it on before I got on, but
yeah, very exciting. And finally, someone else who is very excited for Australian Survivor, AC Alec Culver. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. I would be more excited if it wasn't like 5 o'clock in the morning right now. So
yeah, and as I said before, if you guys didn't have 31 seasons of the damn show already. Speaking of 31 seasons, Survivor Second Chance, Cambodia, let's get straight into it. General thoughts. I'm going to go first on this one. I thought this was the worst episode of the season by far. And not because of just the reasons that you're thinking of. Damn you, Wigglesworth! It is because a lot of reasons, such as an entire episode dedicated to idol hunting, an entire episode that features 2 Cagayan challenges. They're obsessed with using Cagayan challenges. An entire episode that has Joe winning immunity for the 3rd time in a row. What else was wrong with this episode? A blowout reward challenge, a boring reward. And then, of course, Wigglesworth went home, the original runner-up of Survivor, getting 5 confessionals, one of the most underdeveloped players ever. And I'm going to have a lot to say about that because I'm not happy at all. Hashtag fuck the editors, get that trending. I've probably spoken enough because I'm going to be raging all through this episode. I was not a fan of this one. Colin, tell me I'm wrong or right, whatever your opinion is.
You're wrong and right. It's a very confusing area. I agree with all of your complaints, but at the same time, I liked the fact that the editing was so confusing. Like, this was the first time this season where I've been 100% positive somebody was going home, going in.
Yep.
Because I thought it was Wentworth, and
what?
I was I thought Wentworth was going
Really?
based on the edit. Yeah. I didn't think that... I thought there's no way they're going to have Kelly go, or Wigglesworth go, with absolutely no confessionals, nothing about her game. I thought, if anything, this was the week where they were setting her up for something down the road where maybe she ends up in the top 3 and everybody's wondering why.
But she got one confessional, and that's where I knew Kelly Wigglesworth is out.
But, like, in all honesty, I mean, yeah, there's the problems where it's just second chances has just become second chances for anybody who's on Blood versus Water or Brains versus Brawn versus Beauty. The game is... I think my only real problem is that the game is being kind of blown completely out of proportion at this point. Like, all this talk about the game has evolved and this is a new evolution of the game. It's like, it's really exactly what they've done before. It's just people are valuing numbers ahead of loyalty because they know nobody's taking it personally. This is not some evolution of the game that's going to, stand the test of time, because as soon as you get a bunch of strangers together, they're going to start taking it personally again. But outside of that, I was glad that I was at least surprised by the outcome, and I'm kind of all for, at this point, getting rid of the people who are contributing nothing to the show.
I'm just going to ignore that statement. I'm surprised that you were surprised, because I thought this was the one week where it was no surprise, just because she had no edit and Wentworth has had a big edit. But I would have gladly taken Wentworth going home over Wigglesworth. But I agree, it's hardly an evolution. We've seen this in plenty of seasons of Survivor, but we'll jump into this. Alec, what did you think? Just your brief thoughts. We're going to cover a lot, but brief thoughts of the ep.
I thought it was actually a pretty good episode. Like, not the best of the season. I think last episode was a lot better, but I'm kind of with Colin that I was, like, shocked going in, but then, like you said, when Wigglesworth finally got a confessional after, like, 6 episodes of not having one, and it was, like, the crappiest confessional in the world, too. Like, she's just like, the plan's to vote out Wentworth. Like, that's a whole confessional. But, like, it was kind of predictable, but it wasn't, because, like, it didn't make it seem like it. But I also feel that this episode probably set up the rest of the season, because I'm pretty sure somebody, if this person wins, then I think it's probably one of the more predictable seasons in a while. Well, Kagayan was pretty predictable too, but like on who was going to win, not on everything else. But I mean, like, if this one person, because he had like so many freaking winner quotes today, and like he's setting up a game just like Tony was and stuff. I think you all know who I'm talking about, but
I know who
very
you're talking.
Tyson-like too.
I know who you're talking about, but that person also got the winners of his original season, so that's why I'm cautious. Good point. We'll jump into that. That's just the initial thoughts. Gabe, lay it on me. What did you think?
I agree with you, Noah. I thought that it wasn't fun to watch the idols, and the individual challenges have kind of sucked so far. Like, at least it was balancing people and not balancing balls in a platform. But I don't really want to watch either of those happen. And I think what makes a blindside work is when they actually develop that person as a character. Like when Savage was voted out last week, at least had a story, and it got cut short. Kelly, we didn't see anything from her all season, so I don't think it leaves an impression other than why did they even bother having her back on if they weren't going to show her? So, I don't know. Not the best episode.
It just blows my mind, because I dispel any theory. Oh, Wigglesworth was boring. I've watched every single Wigglesworth secret scene, and they could have included plenty of those in the show. Wigglesworth was not boring. Her Ponderosa was entertaining. It wasn't Cass-like, but it was entertaining. She's not a boring character. She's the original runner-up. I'm getting flustered. Patty G, tell me what you thought.
I definitely agree with you, Noah, in the fact that I thought it was very obvious right from the get-go when they were grouping her with Joe. I thought that there was a pretty good chance that she would go home after getting nothing and then automatically putting her right up there with Joe as a threat. And I definitely think there were a lot of things wrong with the episode, but Alec, I was going to say exactly what he did, that I really think that it, is going to pave the way for the rest of the season. I think that it's going to be really interesting because there's a lot going on. There's still 10 people left, which is crazy. So this episode in particular, I wasn't the biggest fan, but I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
I should clarify, I don't dislike this season, but I thought this was hands down the worst episode of the season so far, just for a variety of reasons.
Did you think it was worse than the Merge episode? Because I personally thought the Merge episode was...
Oh, I thought it was far worse.
Dullest.
I'm not a fan of idol hunting, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Merge wasn't brilliant, but I thought it was better than this. One thing I like to do that Ben doesn't do, but hey, Ben, maybe take note. You could learn something. He's probably not even listening to this. Who are we kidding? I like to just get rid of the challenges out of the way because challenges aren't exciting in Survivor hardly ever anymore. So I like to just group them together so we can get on to the good stuff. When we finally get a good challenge, maybe we'll spend some more time on it. But the two challenges we had... One from Cagayan, Brains versus Brawns versus Beauty, and the other one from Cagayan, Brains versus Brawns versus Beauty. This is a second chance for Spencer and Tasha. I swear part of this challenge was used in Africa, was it not? The polls, or am I just making that up? Because I thought this could have been part...
I think you're making it up.
I swear they had to make polls to get up something in Africa, and this could have been a T-Bird second chance. Maybe we need to fact-check that. So that was the reward challenge. They had to get the polls up. That solved the challenge. I can't even remember where that showed up in Cagayan, to be completely honest. But
that was Tony's Final Five thing.
Top 5, baby.
Top 5, baby, yeah. I should have remembered that. And then the second one was standing on the... what do you call them, platforms, I guess, in the water, which was used in Cagayan, but it's also been used in, Caramoan, I think, and maybe just Caramoan. There could have been another one too. So they were the two challenges. How exciting. I will say the reward, it was one of the biggest blowouts ever, and it was not dramatic at all. It was quite hilarious, to be honest. Keith, this is just embarrassing. The immunity challenge was pretty... It was a boring challenge, but I love the rain. Rain is like my favorite element ever, so I love rain in Survivor and so much atmosphere and the lightning sound effects and everything going on. We won't talk about the actual Steven advantage just yet, but the challenge itself, it was pretty dramatic. I loved Abby Maria dominating, and then Joe won for a third time, but so close for Abby. That would have been one of the biggest underdog awesome immunity wins, but... Patty G, the two challenges, not overly exciting.
No, to say the least. Obviously, we get it, Jeff. Cagayan was a really good season, and it was really recent, but the challenges weren't even good in that season. I don't get why you're trying to reuse them. If Abby won, that would have been ridiculous, but... Joe, I don't even know if Joe had to win. It didn't seem like that it was a must-win for him. I don't know, but overall challenges were really dull, and they've been really dull all season.
Colin, what do you think of these two challenges? Could they not have used a Borneo challenge or something? Spider challenge, to quote Troy?
Well, the answer to why they're reusing all Blood versus Water and Cagayan challenges is because they're recent enough that the original props from those challenges haven't deteriorated like the ones from Borneo probably have. It's all budget. Yeah, it's all budget.
Good point.
But, I mean, it is kind of disappointing more that it's just those are the only two seasons that we are seeing, because it was such an interesting idea that I think we all were talking a lot about early in the season that, we could be re-seeing challenges every week here. Somebody's challenge, this. Why aren't we seeing this is a Tocantins challenge? This is a Borneo challenge.
I'm glad that Savage is out of the game, so we don't have that find a word challenge that was invented by like a 6-year-old girl or whatever.
But I mean, I think maybe the excuse they're using is that the challenges were different back then. You know, they were, especially the Borneo ones, they were a lot simpler, a lot shorter. But at the same time, we've already seen many things where they'll combine, like they'll take something from one season and they'll be like, oh, okay, and then we're going to add these two elements to it. So there's ways to do it. That's disappointing. The thing with Joe, I think Joe always needs to win. I think the only reason it feels like he didn't need to win this week is because he wasn't going anywhere, so they felt no need to edit in, you know, the swerve that, oh, maybe Joe's going home. But it's pretty much a given at this point. I think Joe's gone as soon as he loses immunity. It's just, I'm kind of getting bored with this whole, let's build the challenge around showing the person who comes in second basically being unstoppable, and Joe is wobbling the whole time. It's like, Joe's really struggling, and meanwhile Abby or whoever else is in second that week is like, oh, they're a rock, and then all of a sudden it just falls apart in the end. Like, they're trying to fool us with the challenges, but at this point I think it's so predictable that Joe's going to win every time that just let the challenges play out, you know?
Yeah, although I thought, that small chance, Abby Maria, the Angkor Wat statue, she could do it.
Oh, it would have been brilliant.
Yeah, but it is kind of just that like false hope type thing. Alec, both the challenges this week.
I didn't like that both of them were Kageyaan. If like only one of them had been Kageyaan, it would have been fine. But I also thought it was very interesting. If you like watch the balancing one on the boot on the triangle in the water, both the other times they did it, they used all 3 runs. They only used like that last run and then like the top this time around. Yeah. I don't know if they're like trying to speed up challenges or what. And then they went
maybe
to
the
1
weather.
foot. Yeah. And then they went to 1 foot, which was only a stipulation added by like Brenda and Andrea the first time I was in Karamoon and stuff like that. But
I don't like
overall,
that. That's not the challenge. It's not a 1 foot challenge. Just do the challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I thought if Abby had won, even if Joe didn't go home, I thought that would have been even better because, you know, just like when she won immunity the first time in Philippines, it was just like, what the hell just happened? And it's just like, if she had done that again, it was like she sat out the award because nobody wanted to pick her. And like, she had won immunity over Joe, that would have been like the best like story ever.
Like the one person to ever beat Joe is the one person who's probably the worst at the challenges this season. It would have
like
been
the
glorious.
History of Survivor,
Oh, it would have really upped her. And she got a confessional in the episode for the first time in 4 weeks or so. And I'm thinking, ooh, maybe this will lead to her winning. But alas, no. Gabbo, did you like the challenges?
No. I like how they're going with this, like their second chance theme, but like it's all the recent ones, like Colin was saying, and the recent challenges aren't good. So I'd almost rather like they're at a new location. If they, even though they don't do it anymore, it'd be fun if we had like some Cambodian theme to the challenges, like China or something, like how they bring the culture into the challenges. I like that because these are just a waste of time. I don't want to watch like one team get blown out in a reward for a soggy spa or whatever that was supposed to be. So yeah, I wish Abby won since I really think I'm her only fan, but that's all right. Oh, good. I'm not the only one.
I like her.
I just think she's hilarious.
Yeah, I think she's out of the game now, but China had some great challenges I'd love to see back, like bouncing balls on the drums, chopsticks one. They are all cool.
And they're all they all have the China theme to them. Like, it's got to be something in Cambodia that you can do besides balancing a ball on a platform.
Yeah, you could easily tweak some China challenges to fit a Cambodian theme.
Sudoku?
Yeah, PG, this is your second chance Sudoku. Let's do just a quick whip around, just quickly, like a one word, whatever, off the top of your head, a challenge from one of those seasons, second chance that you would like to see back. Colin?
Giant boulders racing from Africa.
Yeah, that would be cool. Shame we don't have Gabon people, because that had a lot of good challenges. Gabe?
I don't know, like, if it really counts, but I love the touchy subjects challenge. That's one of my favorites. Like when they ask them the questions.
I feel like they may do that. Hope
I don't think the only time it's ever really been bad was the San Juan del Sur.
Oh, yeah. Alec.
That's a hard one. Like, I would probably say one of my favorite ones was that pig tossing one that they had in Tokenshin's, the award, where like they had to like create their own barricade and then toss like ceramic pigs to it. So that'd be a good one for like Steven because his tribe lost.
Was that also? Oh no, that's Gabon that they threw the fruit over like walls and stuff like that. That would have been cool.
Basically,
that's
same concept,
similar,
but they build their own barricade. So
yeah, that would be cool. And Paddy G.
The video camera challenge from Borneo, where Rudy just kept saying, "I don't know."
Blair Witch challenge back and use the same 2000 cameras as well. Yeah, use the old camcorder. I hate to interrupt, but this isn't live. But we are getting a phone in. A guest is phoning in to the Oztopsy.
What?
Is this Zachary Chong? Is it Catherine? Hello, guest phoning into the non-live Oztopsy. Who are you?
Fucking pissed off. That's what I fucking am. Oh, don't you laugh, you lot. Oh, yeah, laugh it up. I wasn't even meant to be here, but so incensed and fucking angry am I right now that I had to come on and rage at something.
Why are you angry, mystery guest?
Something? Fucking Stephen, fucking Jeremy, fucking Spencer. Why vote out Wigglesworth? There's no point to it. We've waited 15 fucking years for her to come on the show. We see her for like 2 minutes and then she's voted out for no reason. She gets one fucking confessional in her last episode. I just want to punch something. This is
Noah's
ridiculous.
the closest.
Oh, well, I'm going down to Snug in a minute. God, has he been hosting this episode all right? I don't know.
So I take it you're not very pleased with the outcome of this episode, mystery guest.
This is...
Or he just got rejected from Australian Survivor already.
One of those two.
I just found out they don't want me as a host. Oh, fuck Australian Survivor. Fuck everything. My night's been ruined. You know, I've just seen the new trailer for the Zoolander movie. That can't even make me happier. This is just bullshit. Fucking Wigglesworth was robbed and should be on there more. And I'm angry. And that's it.
Bye, Ben.
Thanks, guys. Do the rest of the Oztopsy. Fuck everyone. And rest in peace, Wigglesworth.
There we go.
He did just hang up.
Mystery voting guest. We seem to lost them on the line. They've hung up. Don't know who that was. Could have been Zachary Chong. Could have been Chris Berger. Could have been Catherine. One of those. Yeah, could have been.
Sounded a lot like Catherine.
Could have been. My bet's on Catherine. Could have been Rat.
Rat.
So yeah, they've hung up.
Jared Elliott.
Yeah, that was Jared Elliott.
Who else would be that angry?
Only Jared Elliott would be flogging about like that. So there we go. Jared's gone. He's hung up in anger. Anger what? Yeah, there we go. The first phone-in on an Oztopsy in like 3 years, and we're not even live. I don't know how they did that. Kind of freaks me out. But, yeah, technical difficulties, please stand by. But I guess we should probably move on then. Can we move on from that bizarre entrance into an Oztopsy? Wow. Let's talk about advantages. Mainly Stephen Fishback advantage. In the challenge, they hyped it up in the previews. Jeff said, you can better yourself in the game. Chopped a rope, and up came some boys. Yes, they're called boys, not buoys. They're boys. And there was an advantage. First one to swim there, but you had to make the decision now. Stephen and Spencer both jumped off. Stephen made it there first, and he won the advantage, which was an extension of Dan Foley's advantage. So not only does he get an extra vote, he basically nulls someone else's votes, which is a huge amount of power in the game. That's crazy, I think. I think it can potentially bring some good drama to the show, but I'm surprised they gave... I think Probes was worried enough that an extra vote was enough power, but now he's basically nulling a vote and having an extra vote. So interested to see how it turned out. It was a lot less dramatic than they made it look like it was going to be. Like, we thought it would maybe be the hidden immunity idol or something like that. But yeah, Gabe, what did you think of this whole Steven advantage business?
Oh, well, I did like it, the challenge part. But in terms of the advantage, though, I don't know. I think we have to see how it plays out first. Like, I like that they're trying something new, but I'm also kind of torn since I like the game more pure. And if there are too many advantages and idols and all of it out there, then I don't know, it could just become a mess. But we'll see what happens.
What do you think, Patty G?
I think it's the advantage itself is really gimmicky. I feel like it's kind of like Big Brother-esque, and I don't really like that very much. But again, you know, it could be something really interesting. It holds a ton of power, and I just think it's hilarious that Spencer cannot get an advantage if it saved his life like that. That was wonderful that he failed again at getting an advantage.
Alec? Did you like it or dislike
it? So the advantage itself, I think, is probably I would say it's probably very similar to like Tony's power idol in Kagayan. Like, it's maybe a little step over too much power. Like, I thought the extra vote was actually super good if it was executed right, and this one's kind of like switching up the game. Like, Steven could save himself from not going home one of these times by stealing someone else's vote. But I will say I loved how they incorporated it into like having to give up immunity rather than spending $500 at the auction, because that had become way too predictable. Everybody was saving stuff for an advantage and stuff like that. So I like how they like switching it up by like actually having it like you have to give up immunity to get this like advantage and stuff. And so I thought I liked that aspect of it.
I almost wish it was just the hidden immunity idol literally tied to the buoy, because I think that would have been dramatic that everyone in the game sees that you've got an idol and you're almost forced to play at the first tribal council that you go to, otherwise you're going to be a huge threat. I think that could bring, like, imagine if Steven got an idol in front of everyone, like, surely they would be targeting him tonight, but then they would have been too scared because what if he plays the idol and then someone else gets voted out? So then they have to try and do a splitty votey thingy, and I think that would bring a lot of drama. Now it's just like, oh, Steven might have this, he might have that, and we'll get to the idol in a minute. Colin, did you like this new advantage and the way it was executed as well? They're still hiding things in challenges, just a different format now.
I think this is going to be one of those things where the idea of it's very interesting, but it's going to play out and just go flat, because I think the only way that this really brings... the producers don't care about, well, let's, throw this thing out there to make somebody's game a little bit more interesting. What they care about is creating more drama, and that will only happen if other people know what his advantage is. And I would love to see a season play out where somebody has an advantage like this, or multiple people could have it. Let's say you replace immunity idols, period, with you don't have an idol, you just have this power. And then all of a sudden the game becomes interesting, because you have people saying, I think he's probably going to try to throw my vote away tonight, so I'm going to vote a different way than he's expecting me to. And I think that is where the game becomes interesting. But if nobody knows about this, it's like, I don't really see it playing out in any exciting way other than at some point we know going into a tribal council, he's going to be in the majority when he's not supposed to be.
I love that if they know, then it's going to create more paranoia, and it's going to create a lot of different drama going on rather than them guessing, because they probably think...
And it makes it harder for Steven to play it too, because he has to worry about all these different factors.
Yeah. My issue with it is Steven's already in a majority, that he's just going to have even, like, say, I don't know, they vote Sierra out and it's down to Kelly and Abby, and they are targeting the Witches cover, and we'll get to the new alliances. But say that scenario. All he's got to do is, this is the last opportunity for Steven to use it. All right, I negate Abby's vote. It's just like, if it went to someone in the minority, and I don't know why someone in the minority didn't go for it. I guess they didn't want a bigger target on their back, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to kind of Dan Foley just fizzle out. But did you like the way it was executed, though? Because we don't have hiding at challenges anymore. Colin.
Check the chat.
Not Colin. Did you like the way it was executed, Patrick? Because we don't have them at challenges anymore.
About the idol?
Yeah.
I thought it was so pointless. That's not much of a risk to have to go when people are sleeping. I mean, of course, they weren't sleeping. And he just pulled the Boston Rob and said that he had to take a shit. But I don't get why they just don't hide it with the clue. Unless they're going to hide it at a challenge, there's no point in making you find a clue and then find an idol that's at camp. I don't like it.
It was just, he's the idol on a clothesline. And we might as well talk about that now while we're at it. It's supposed to look like a children's idol, but this one didn't look too much different to any other kind of idol. Like, if I saw that, I wouldn't think it's a homemade idol. I would believe it's an idol. So what did you think of the actual look of the idol then?
You're still talking to me?
I'm still talking to you.
I honestly didn't really even notice that. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what the idol looks like.
Cool.
Yeah, wonderful. I pay lots of attention to the finer details in life.
Gabe, where the idol was hidden, it was Jeremy had to go out at night, find the clothesline, get it, and what the idol looked like. It's no longer at the challenges.
Just why? There's no. It goes against their whole theme by hiding it away from camp. Like, they should have had it, like, maybe underneath their shelter, or I would have liked it if they hid it at tribal council, or, I mean, it still could have worked at the challenge.
I think it's shelter. If at nighttime, your idol will be literally buried a foot under the sand in the middle of your camp. Now try and get that damn idol.
The whole point is finding it in front of other people. But, it still could have worked at the challenge, like, if you had to reach down in the middle of it and grab it off that little triangle thing.
Yeah.
As far as how it looked, I don't Jeremy said something like to that effect when he found it, but I didn't think it looked that different. Like, I thought they were just going to be like a stick or something like that, not decorated and everything. So we'll see what the rest look like.
The thing with the idol is they're still doing team challenges, so why couldn't they have, like, the idol is hidden under the foot of the third pole or something? Like, they still could have incorporated it into the challenge. Obviously, it's a lot harder with the immunity challenges, but they're still doing basic tribal challenges, so...
Yeah, since they don't do individual rewards anymore.
Yeah, let's not get started on that. Alec, you know the questions. We're talking about idols at the moment.
I think that one of the great things of the reason why the idols were like better in the first seasons or whatever, now it's just become like mainstream, was like Fiji, when like Earl had to take everybody away from camp just as like Yawman was able to find it. Like, I would have loved if it was at the camp somewhere, just like Gabriel had said, instead of, oh, it's going to be right here at this time, you have to go there a bit, or at least because he left when some people were still awake and stuff like that, like, if it wouldn't have been there because people were still awake, and because it said like, wait till everybody and then go here. Like, what if he had to actually wait till everybody was asleep? Or if he had to find it underneath the shelter, you see him like turn over in the middle of the night and grab it, and like maybe someone like Steven could have saw him like reaching for something in the middle of the night. Like, it could have been like so much better if it was at camp. And as far as the look of it, like, Jeremy's exact quote was, I think it was like, in this season, no two idols look the same. Like, that's all it said. It didn't say, oh, this one looks like crap and this one looks amazing and stuff like that. I was expecting Ozzy's effing sick, to be honest. Like, that's what I wanted for the idols, not some like thing that actually looks like, you know, Abby could have made that fake idol or something like that. Like Joe could have made that fake. Like, it actually looks like something somebody could have easily made, like, and still look relevant compared to Ozzy's stick. Like, that's what I wanted with these, no two idols look the same and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, everything fell flat with the idol this week.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess we'll also talk about, while we're here, Jeremy Collins now has 2 idols. Hooray. I've got nothing against Jeremy. I'm enjoying his game. He's playing a good game. I was fine with him getting an idol. But even Keith Nail, my favourite player, having 2 idols would annoy me. It's just the fact that now, and this isn't even a production fault now, this is just a personal annoyance, now we've got one person in the game who owns an idol, and he has 2 of them. And I know we've got James Clement, but Jeremy's not an idiot like James Clement, so I don't think he's going to get voted out with 2 idols. But that would be pretty funny if we got a second chance James Clement vote out. But he's the only one in the game with idols, and he's got 2 of the frickin' things. Is he not guaranteed to go like at least final 6 or 7 at this point? It's crazy. Well, Colin, you may as well take this one, seeing as you left me hanging last time to go and shovel some snow. Jeremy Collins is the only one in the game with idols, and he's got 2 of the damn things.
Yeah, I mean, in a way I'm thankful because we don't have one of these seasons where there are 3 people with idols, 1 person with an advantage, and there's only 6 players in the game. So it still is a little bit more open. I think Jeremy was safe anyways, and I'm kind of looking more than, like you were saying, more than, is this person just guaranteed final 5 or whatever, and thinking more about, are they going to find a creative way to play these? Because if this comes down to, he falls out of the majority at some point, and let's say it's him and Steven, or he knows Steven's going, well, I wouldn't put it past Jeremy to say, I'll give one of my idols to Steven, because that'll advance my game further. So I'm kind of being optimistic and hoping it'll play more like that, and that we don't simply have him using the idols. But, let's be honest, if nobody knows he has the idols in the first place, I mean, would we be questioning that he makes it to the top 5 anyways, just based on the game he's playing? So I'm not going to worry that much about it. I did find it funny, though, that, we've gone from your idol's going to be hidden in the middle of a challenge to they tried to play it like it was so difficult, but it's like, we're going to basically have a lit path for you to find the idol. It's going to be well lit. And furthermore, I don't know why the big deal was made about, it has to be in the middle of the night when everybody's at camp. I mean, that would be the easiest time to excuse yourself. I mean, who's going to question you have to go to the washroom? You got to go take a dump in the middle of the night. Nobody's going to be like, well, that seems very suspicious. Nobody has bowel
Jeremy's
movements
looking
at
for
nighttime.
idols at 3 in the morning.
I'm surprised Steven didn't follow him.
Jeremy just strikes me as a player who plays idols for himself. I don't see him giving idols to other people. But
well, I think it depends on how you're interpreting his game. I mean, his entire game has been based around him seeing the value in having people who are bigger threats to him. So let's say it comes down to all the other threats are being voted out. I think that he values having another threat around enough that he would play an idol on somebody like Steven.
Well, apparently Wigglesworth was a threat, and she wasn't kept around. Jeremy now has 2 idols.
I mean, I hope that this isn't an obvious thing, because, like you did say, he was kind of the favorite to win in San Juan del Sur. But this is just so reminiscent of Tyson when he found his second idol and the whole crybaby moment. And Tony too, but Tony wasn't a little crybaby.
Yeah, Tony's awesome.
Yeah, and then the whole storyline about Val and all this. He just had so many quotes, and I mean,
and he doesn't know the gender of the baby.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like that just. If he wins this season, this is the exact moment we can really draw back to and say, okay, this is when Jeremy won the game in terms of editing.
Yeah. I love that he mentioned these are Val's idols, and we had Val lying about the double idol thing, and now he's got two idols. How cool!
Oh, I never put that together. That's
Yeah, these are Val's idols, and he's
That
got
was
two
great.
of the things. John Rocker's probably face palming there. AC, Jeremy, two idols. What's going to happen?
Yeah, like Jeremy having two idols, like at least Jeremy's not like in such a power position like Tony was in Kagayan and stuff like that, and like not one of Jeremy's idols is that superpower idol. But I feel that like just like with Spencer and Tasha and stuff like that in Kagayan, we wouldn't have mind the power idol if one of the underdogs had found it and stuff like that. It's just like, and the fact that the one guy in the game, like there's 11 people in the game, and the one guy that still has an idol is the only one that finds it and like so now he has two idols that guarantee him pretty much final five, let's say, and it's just like I like Jeremy. I've been predicting Jeremy to win since like the third episode or whatever, but it's just like this, if he ends up winning, like this is the like moment because he's playing like he's in the majority. He was mentioned as a target this time by the witches, but like he's not really a big threat to anyone. Like he has Joe on his side, which is a bigger threat. He has Steven on his side, which is a bigger threat, and stuff like that. It's just like, and like now he has two idols. Like he's in the best position, and it's just like, I wish it was Aussie Stick still, but he has two idols, so.
I like Jeremy, and I would have no problem him making Final Five, but a Jeremy James Clement blindside would be amazing and would really up this
epic
season. Like that, preferably any time from now on. Like I don't necessarily want to see him go, but I just think that would really make this season. Gab, your thoughts on Jeremy and his double idols? This is for Val.
So if he's not number one on your guys' power rankings this week, then
He is.
Really question that one. But
I think he's been there for the past 5 weeks or something. When will he get out of the freaking first spot?
I'm impressed because he's actually doing what he said pre-game, which I don't think, at least from what we've seen, the other people don't appear to be, because he said that he was going to keep all the other threats around, and it's worked so well. Like, I'm shocked at how well it's worked with Joe, since nobody's even paying attention to Jeremy because everyone's obsessed with getting Joe out. And
Spencer. We can talk
about. But with his idols, I see the pro in that is we're not going to have an idol hunt every week if the majority alliance has it. But then also, like, idols are only dramatic when the underdogs have them. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you mentioned the idol hunt, so let's just quickly... We don't want to dwell on this like the episode, so we'll just quickly talk about
that was what the episode dwelled on, though.
Yeah. That was one of my biggest criticisms. I don't like idol hunt episodes. I guess Kageyaan, it was okay, because it was literally everyone in the camp, and it was kind of an interesting dynamic of them all, when you had Spencer and Cass talking. You've got Morgan the Pillow actually getting up and doing something, to quote Tony. So I guess that one was okay. I just don't like extended idol things. Like, we know there's idols. We know everyone is really looking for them. Just whoever finds it, just do it quickly. Because it's just redundant footage and there's no substance to it.
The twist this week lengthened it out. Like, when he found that note, like, that could have been the end of it, but him walking out into the jungle in the middle of the night, that just took more screen time away from stuff that's actually fun to watch.
It's just, like, I'm going to get to Wigglesworth, but this was her last episode of Survivor ever. Let's face it, she's not coming back. But, like, we know Joe is in a bad position. Do we need Joe looking for an idol? And Joe, I'm looking for an idol. Although I have to admit, Abby Maria, that was pretty funny when she tried to break that up. Good to see some more Abby. It's been a while. But, we won't, as I said, we won't dwell on this, but Colin, idol hunts.
I think I had a different perspective on it. Like, I was lucky enough, I think it was last season, I'm pretty sure last season, I got to do the recap with Jeremy and Val. And that was one of the questions that came up was about, and all of us sort of have these theories that idols are getting so easy to find that it's like you just walk and you trip over one. And, Jeremy and Val were saying like, no, we spend hours upon hours looking for these things. So on one hand, I, remembered them telling me the story about how much they looked for idols and thinking, well, this really is, something that he's been trying so hard on. And also the fact that if they were spending that much time looking for it then, I mean, you have to imagine sometimes they may have an entire day where there's nothing to do around camp and all people are doing is looking for idols. And, you might as well build at least one segment out of that. So it didn't really bother me as much as it seems to be bothering everybody else.
It bothered me. Well, I'm just a
We've heard.
whinger by nature, so... Alec, anything else to add? There's not really much to talk about here. The main thing is the vote, but idol hunt.
The idol hunt thing, I actually enjoy when they show everybody like looking for the idol. If they actually like explained why, like they explain why Spencer was searching through the idol. They didn't really like the only ones you really got like an explanation from was the guy who found the idol and the guy who doesn't need the idol because he wins every single immunity. And even that wasn't even like that well developed. And then like the three people who are in the minority, they never show looking for the idol. Like Wentworth, Sierra, and Abby like never went looking for the idol. Abby caught somebody looking for the idol and decides that she needs to take a crap too. But but they didn't really like the fact that nobody in the minority alliance was looking for the idol. Like they didn't show anyone like that could have been like added to it if it like you have the aspect of like Sierra saying like we need this idol and stuff like that. You just have Sierra the whole time saying we need to make a big move. It's just like, well, what if you had the idol? You could have made another big move. It's just like if they actually put some purpose behind it, compared to like Jeremy, they actually put like he's like, oh, if we have two idols in my alliance, then that'd be even more like that'd be even better. And it's like, and Joe, it's just like I'm this big threat. As soon as I lose, I'm gone. So I need to find that idol. Those are the only two like explanations, but they show like 6 or 7 people looking for it. It's just like, and the underdogs, the outsiders were the ones who weren't looking for it at all. Like they were the only ones not looking for it.
Pat, do you have anything to add on idol hunt?
No, not really. I think you guys have all covered it pretty well.
Yeah. I wanted
not the biggest fan.
I wanted to see, what was it, Andrea and Malcolm, I think, where she just sat there watching him. I wanted Abby, Maria, and Joe, because Andrea, you can probably stomach, like, hanging around you, but I love Abby, Maria just nagging Joe, not letting him out of his sight. We were robbed of that scene. Let's move on. We've pretty much talked about everything in the episode, except for one thing, and I've got a lot of opinions on this, but I'm going to let some of you guys talk. Voting out Kelly Wigglesworth, and we'll get to her legacy, which is going to have probably a bit of shouting from me. But Gabe, was this a good move to vote out Kelly Wigglesworth this week in Survivor?
I have no idea because they try to convince us that she's a threat. And, like, for the viewers, it's hard to buy that. Like, of course, they don't have an edit when they're out there, but all we have to base our opinion off of is who we're seeing. So when we haven't seen Kelly the entire season, how are we supposed to think she's a threat? And I still don't even buy that. Like,
I don't buy it.
In a second chance season where these people are so focused on gameplay, they're not going to give Kelly the vote at the end if she hasn't done anything but be there, or from what we've seen. Except I don't think that she was going to make a move down the line. As far as her legacy, it's kind of a shame. I just wish she didn't come back, because it would have been better to think like, oh, it would be so cool if Kelly came back than what we actually got, which was her in the first episode and her getting voted out. So, yeah, it's just the whole situation's a shame.
I don't buy it as well. I don't buy that she was a threat, not just based on the edit. Like, I think Steven is antsy to make a big move. He's obsessed with making big moves, which just baffles me why every vote has to be a big move. And she was the closest thing to Joe to a big move. That's what I think she was really a threat, other than she's social. But she was never going to make a move against anyone.
The big move would be to take out the people that he voted with. since they're the ones that can actually win the game, as opposed to really that entire other group that was in the minority for this vote.
Yeah, just I'm not sure, and I still need to process it. I'm not sure if it was a bad move, but it just seems so unnecessary. I don't buy that she was a threat, and even if she was a social threat, take her out at 6, take her out at 7.
Yeah.
Colin, simple question. Was this a good move to vote out Kelly Wigglesworth on Stephen's behalf?
I think it was hands down the smartest move they could have made. I'll give my explanation for that in a second. But first, I just wanted to point out the funniest line of the episode, which I think came from Sierra, where they're talking about her as a threat, and they're saying, like, you know, she gets to the end, she wins. And they're like, she has the social game. She talks to everybody. And I'm thinking, except when the camera is around, because I've seen her
not the producers, she doesn't.
Yeah. But that also gives some clues as to, like, I know you say, okay, there's some secret scenes or whatever, but, like, in all honesty, her head wasn't in this game, and it's shown by the fact that she's always on the outside of the vote and doesn't even ever seem to care. The fact is, ultimately voting her out was a smart move. It's just they had no way to edit it. The reason why is exactly like you said. They needed to take out somebody who was close to Joe, and all the clues as to why, you know, she was voted out were there in this episode, but they're also trying to hide it so that people who aren't analyzing the show so closely can still be fooled when Joe eventually does go. Joe is guaranteed to go the first time he loses immunity. The only way they create a suspenseful episode out of that is to find ways to convince the audience that he's maybe not going home. And this episode, I guarantee that Steven and Jeremy and everybody, Jeremy would not flip to vote out Wigglesworth just like that. He would flip to vote out Wigglesworth if it was going to take power away from Joe. And all we kept hearing in this episode was, it's about voting blocks now, which essentially is them just saying, there are a bunch of sub-alliances, and it's just, which one are you going to go with this week? And the sub-alliance of Jeremy, Steven, and Spencer know that Joe has to go, but Joe having at least one person on his side makes him more powerful than he needs to be. So if you take out Wigglesworth, you take out Joe's power. That's the real reason. But had they spent this whole episode saying that, it would be so painfully obvious when Joe eventually does go home that he is that target. We've already had enough scenes of he's such a physical threat. Will anybody beat Joe? If you start showing, well, he's a strategic threat too because he has these allies, there's no suspense. So I think the move was 100% a strike against Joe. And if they had shown more about that part of the strategy, then nobody would be surprised eventually when Joe does go.
I wish we actually knew about this Kelly Wigglesworth Joe relationship instead of 20 minutes before the vote out. You say that her head wasn't in the game and she wasn't giving them anything to work with. Can I just say, Kelly Wigglesworth, the original runner-up of Survivor, 1 vote from winning the game, got the same amount of confessionals this season as Purple Kelly did in Survivor Nicaragua. I don't know what to make of that.
Let's also look at Kelly's final words on the show. She said, this game has changed so much from when I play it. It's not really the game I signed up for. I mean, she basically spent her entire final comment saying, yeah, this isn't exactly what I wanted it to be. And she might as well have been saying, my head wasn't really in this game.
Yep, but I get that, but she still delivered content for them to use, and this is still the runner-up of the original Survivor, a Survivor legend that we voted into the game. Like, I get that, and I'm not saying she needed to have 11 confessionals in one episode that Savage got, but she had a confessional in episode 1, 2, and her vote out, and no storyline, no even... My biggest problem is I found it obvious that she was going home. Maybe it wasn't as obvious as I thought, but if she's going home, just give her a big final farewell. This is the last time we'll see her other than the reunion. Don't give us this one confessional business. Just make it obvious if you have to. Do a moniker. Just give her one episode.
The only way you can make it obvious is if Kelly cared, if she knew her name was being floated around and she cared. And if there wasn't any footage, and I wouldn't put it past it, there would be no footage of Kelly actually fighting to stay in this game.
But
I don't doubt that she would have, but like,
it doesn't
she wasn't even clued in enough to the game to know that she was a threat to go home.
It doesn't even have to be about the vote. Just give us a scene at the start of the episode of Kelly practicing her yoga and talking about how this game has changed or something like that. Just give us Kelly Wigglesworth in her final ever episode of Survivor. Doesn't have to do anything. Like, do we need Joe looking for an idol when we could have had one scene dedicated? Even Kimmy's got some scenes. Monica received more confessionals in her episodes altogether than Kelly Wigglesworth did. Monica, who did nothing to get on the... Well, she did stuff to get on the season, but she did nothing in her original season to even warrant being on this season other than, she talked to Russell once. And she even got a final episode farewell.
Yeah, but what do you remember from her in this season? Nothing of value.
Yeah, but she got a final farewell episode.
Yeah, but if you get a final farewell episode and you can't remember anything about that person in that episode, then it was a waste of time. And if that's all we would have gotten from Kelly, I would rather we spend a little bit of time on Jeremy.
On Idle Hunt?
Yeah, because something was happening. If all we got from Kelly was, yeah, maybe I'll be voted out, maybe I won't, I don't know, I'm not really sure what's going on in this game. This is so different from the last time I played. Like, I don't want an episode built to that either. I mean, the Idle Hunt's not the greatest, but it's better than somebody who has nothing to add.
But she does have stuff to add. I've watched the secret scenes.
Yeah, but her own admission in her final scene was, yeah, this isn't the game I signed up for.
Colin, I'm hosting this call and I can hang up on people.
Then who's going to edit and record the rest of this?
Good point.
I hold the power, Grove.
Touche, one up, checkmate.
I'll just add one more thing on here.
Go
the
for it.
The exact same argument you're making about Wigglesworth, you could make about PG.
PG was in this season, though.
PG was not in this season anymore.
She got heaps of airtime.
The only airtime she had was because somebody was basically calling her out on a stolen bracelet. Now, if Abby Maria had done that to Wigglesworth, if there had been anything of entertainment that focused around Wigglesworth, they probably would have shown it. But these secret scenes you're talking about, I haven't watched them, but I guarantee if I hang up this call and I go watch them, I'm not going to be finding anything about, accusations of theft and anything.
PG got airtime, and I agree she could have had some more, but she's not a Survivor legend. It's just sad that to get airtime, you need to be accusing people of stealing bracelets then, because...
Can you tell us one of these Wigglesworth deleted scenes?
Well,
do you remember anything of them?
That's a good point, but I may also add, Colin Hildy.
These great secret scenes that even you don't remember.
They probably don't even exist. It's a good point, but I may also add I can't recall any other secret scenes of any of the other players. I've watched most of them.
That's why they're secret scenes, because they're not good enough to be in the episode.
Everything that comes out of Keith's mouth is good enough to be in the episode, including
phlegm? Yeah.
You can't deny she could have...
Not to hijack the episode or anything, but I think they've officially reached the point where they're assuming people are making drinking games out of Keith spitting, because it'll show it just at the most random moments ever. It's like, let's show Keith spitting just for the sake of showing Keith spitting.
Well, yeah, unlike Kelly, at least they show Keith even when he's not heard from.
Because spitting is more than doing nothing.
Keith's spit has got more airtime than Kelly Wigglesworth, a Survivor legend from season 1. Part
and
of
PG
pop
combined.
Culture phenomenon. Alright, people are screaming at me. If this was live, Zachary Chong would be missing. Yeah, stop talking about this, move on. I don't know if that's what Zachary Chong sounds like, but anyway. Alright. What were we talking about? Was this a good move?
Yes.
My issue with it, and yes, Patrick, Alec, Gabe, I'll let you talk. I'm sorry, Carl. They got up at 4:30 to listen to me bitch for half an hour. My problem is, I'm not saying it was a bad move. I still haven't kind of made a decision, and until the season is over, we don't know for sure. But it's very risky because Kimmy Kappenberg looked very pissed. And speaking of Kimmy, very good point, Gabe, in the chat. Kimmy's secret scenes and
Have you watched those?
Yeah, her confessionals in general, I don't get why she's getting no airtime, because she is entertaining as heck.
Well,
You know,
also,
the most interesting thing.
if you watch her secret scenes, she's more strategically aware than you would know just watching the show.
But even
her one for the last episode, I think that's probably the only one I've watched the whole time, because I didn't think she'd have anything like that big to say, but I was blown away. So go watch that.
Yes.
I think the most interesting thing about Kimmy's secret scenes is that Kelly's Wigglesworth is not even in them.
Kimmy, again, this is jumping all over the place, but I have not seen a confessional of her that hasn't been entertaining. She's always up, she's always bright and bubbly, and her confessionals are far more entertaining than someone like Spencer, and she's only got 6 of them, so I see the case you're making for Wigglesworth, but I can't see the case for Kimmy, because her confessionals are entertaining. Yeah, sorry, I will... my problem, I will just say, to finish off my bitching and moaning, is I'm not sure if it's a good move, but it is risky, because Kimmy... Keith is not going to do anything, but Kimmy and Joe and Tasha, their alliance has just turned on them in favour of the Witches' Coven. They're calling them frickin' witches. And their alliance is turning on them. So are they not going to be cautious of Stephen going forward?
I think, again, this is where, like I was saying, this whole thing they're blowing out of proportion about the evolution of the game really comes down to just you have a bunch of people who understand this is a game and they're not taking it personally. This isn't All-Stars. This is not Worlds Apart. These are people who... they're Varner. If you vote them out, if you blindside them or whatever happens, they're just like, hey, good move, whatever, and they get over it. So this whole talk about the evolution of the game is simply sub-alliances are realizing you can flip every week and nobody's really going to hold it against you. So I think that's why they probably made the
sub-alliances? There ain't no thing as sub-alliances,
yeah,
Jeremy.
they called it sub-alliances then, and now they're calling it voting blocks. It's the same thing. But
then, are you not interested to see how Kimmy reacts then? Because she's kind of more old school. I could see her blowing up.
She'll have a strong reaction, but I think she'll be over it as soon as she realizes, hey, I can get these people back on my side next week if my voting block is more valuable than these witches.
I need her to wave her finger at someone's face. And, what's up your butt? I need to shut up and stop talking, because people are going to start the hashtag bring back Ben trend, which... no one wants.
That's never happening.
Yeah, that's not happening. Who am I kidding? Pat, talk about this. I believe you didn't talk about it. I'm completely out of it now after Wigglesworth debate. Patrick, was this a good move?
I mean, from what they showed us, it wasn't a bad move. I just think overall, I touched on this a little bit at the beginning. You don't show her to us since the second episode, and then all of a sudden she's being grouped with Joe is one of the biggest threats. So if she was this huge threat, and she's arrogant apparently too, according to Abby, then why not? But in terms of editing, no, but that's just the editing.
So, what's your stance on show more Wigglesworth gate?
Oh, yeah, I was the first one you asked about that. But I just wanted to throw in there, isn't their whole voting block terminology, isn't that what they called it in Borneo before they started calling it alliances?
Yeah, this new thing goes back to season 1. Yeah, it is not a new thing, though. We've seen it a lot in other seasons. But anyway, yeah, Pat, were you going to say something?
No, I don't know why I even talked. I thought you were talking to me, but then you said Gabe. I thought you said game. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about?
I don't know.
That's your new nickname, Patrick Game Gustafson.
You know what? There you go.
That's so
whatever you want it to be. I've been called like 38 different things in the 3 months that I've been here.
I'll just call you a wonky clock. I blame you, Colin. You got me flustered after you defending the editors of Wigglesworth. Alec, talk about this move. Talk about Wigglesworth's edit. Talk about anything you want, as long as it's Survivor related.
Well, this move, I feel it would have been a little bit better. Not saying that Fishback did a bad job, but it would have been a little bit better to get a little bit more of Kelly of Wigglesworth, theme from it. But point of view from how her relationship with Joe. If we got a little bit more of that, or like Joe talking about how he's close with Wigglesworth. If we had gotten something more than everybody else talking about it, if we got one of them talking about it, it would have been a little bit better. But I also agree with Colin because I feel that Wigglesworth's like edit of this, especially in this episode, made it even more surprising when she got voted out. And I think that's what the editors were going for. Like, but I do agree that she should have had a lot more airtime throughout the whole season, even if it was like those narration edits when they're talking about the reward. She should have been the first one to go to instead of like Tasha or Spencer or something like that, you know. But yeah. I do think that like this episode did show a lot more of the reason why they got rid of her, because like at Tribal Council when Jeff asks who thinks they're going home tonight, like only 4 people didn't raise their hands and she was one of them. Like and like Abby said she was arrogant or whatever. Well, obviously she was if she didn't even think she was like that big of a threat. Like, you know, she thought she was in a good position because she was in the majority alliance and stuff like that. But like even like Tasha, who's in a good position in the majority alliance, like, or like Jeremy raised his hand as thinking he's this big threat, and he has 2 idols, and he like is in the majority alliance. Like Wigglesworth was one of like 3 people. It was like Wigglesworth, Keith, and then of course like Joe. I think were the only ones that didn't raise their hand. And well, Joe has an idol, like has immunity, so obviously not him. But like the fact that it's kind of like that one world episode when Mike gets voted out, like how nobody raised their hand because they were all that confident. Like I think especially that Tribal Council moment proved like that might have been the moment of when Jeremy and Spencer decided to flip, because like she was so confident. She's like, she's probably saying like, I'm playing this such a good game, because she probably isn't the most strategic one. She's probably like, yes, I probably won't get voted out because I'm just playing this game and like this social game and stuff like that. Which, if you've read my like feature articles, that is like one of my biggest gripes, is that a social game doesn't get edited in enough. But at the same time, I feel it was kind of adding on, especially that Tribal Council part, what was going on in the episode of why they decided to vote her out.
I think it's Survivor. You should always raise your hand at that question. If anything, just to avoid the embarrassment of when you're blindsided. If anything, yeah, she was kind of seemed a bit pissed. Like we talked about her final words when she said, "Oh, I don't care." When she got voted out, she looked a bit pissed. And she said, "What did the tribe have spoken?" She said something like, "They certainly have," or something.
Yeah,
she can speak. And even when she's voted out, they don't even freaking show her. Like, you go back and watch that. Normally they show people getting their torches and that. When Wigglesworth was voted out, they showed faces of every single other person in the tribe. And then she's suddenly up there next to Probes. Like, they didn't ever show her getting voted out this time. We've pretty much talked a lot of Wigglesworth, more than she was even shown in the season. So we'll just end her legacy just briefly, because we've already touched on it. But again, and I think, Alec, you said it, you could have showed her at a reward and this and that. Like, I'm not saying she needed to be the biggest character, give her 50 confessionals, but just show her a little more. Like, we don't always need Spencer describing the reward or Joe looking for an idol. Just give us a little bit more, if anything, on this final episode, because it's the last time we'll see her other than the reunion where she probably won't even get spoken to. We voted her on, so just show her. It's Kelly frickin' Wigglesworth, not Wigglesworth. I'm not Cable.
Cable.
So does this mean that they're going to be hesitant of bringing back old school players now because of someone like this? But probably not, because Jeff Varner was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kimmy and Wigglesworth aren't really doing it good for the old schools, which worries me. But I guess Savage and Varner and all that, so maybe we shouldn't worry too much about that. Favorite player of the season, I loved her. I don't think it ruined her legacy in a way, because I think people knew, even voting her in, we all said she's going to be Purple Kelly, but we voted for her anyway. So it's hard to argue that it ruined her legacy when we all predicted it in a way. So I don't regret voting her on. I know there's the argument of the what if she didn't and she just left her legacy as that, but I tend to not care too much about screwed up legacies, because in 50 years time none of us will even care about this show and none of it will even matter. So who cares of a screwed up legacy if you really think about it. That's just my opinion, though. Like, I think you should always take the chance, and it may screw you up, but it may end up good. I loved her. She should have stayed around longer. Her boot was ridiculous. Hashtag fuck the editors. Get that trending. I was very disappointed with the way she was handled this season. I disagree with what Colin said. I think I said pretty much everything. I was very mad after the episode today, and I still think it was the worst episode of the season, but still better than most episodes last season, so that's something. Yeah, probably. Colin, I don't know if I regret going to you. Maybe I should just skip you on this, but sum up Kelly Wigglesworth, her legacy after this turn. And we should say, I think we're all in agreement, this is the last time we see her. She's not playing for a third time, unlike some of these people. We just get that out of the way. But Colin, wrap up Wigglesworth.
In all honesty, you can go back to Ben's interview with her, where she even said that in the beginning of that interview, she said, I won't play the game again, and then she decided at the end, yeah, maybe I would. I don't think
Kelly giving credit to Ben Waterworth for Wigglesworth being on this season?
I'm
wearing a green buff?
I'm giving credit to Ben for convincing her to do something that turned out to be a waste of time. She hasn't seen her child in like 5 weeks thanks to Ben Waterworth.
The child's forgotten who she is. She's invisible.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make you regret calling him, because again, I don't really have anything bad to say about her. I'm not of the belief that the editors somehow made a mistake, when we don't get something out of a person, because this is one of those seasons where everybody's a big personality coming in, and you're going to get some people more than others. If we're seeing less of her, like I think you were the one that had a theory a couple of weeks ago, or somebody did, that maybe we're seeing people based on how many votes they got, and let's say Wigglesworth was near the bottom of the vote getters. Well, maybe they're showing more Joe and showing more Spencer because they got more votes. They're playing to who the audience is.
Wigglesworth was up the top.
She might have been, but again, if you only have so much to work with, there's only so much you can do. And I have no problem with her. I'm happy she came back still. I think it's great just to see somebody come back a second time. And the few moments we did have of her were okay, but I don't think there's really any great memorable Wigglesworth moments on this season. I'm not
swimming
so
ahead
happy
at the very first challenge to get the rights, dominating.
Yeah. Let's be honest though, are we going to remember that, or are we going to remember Steven versus Spencer to get the advantage?
I remember.
As the game progresses, that's where it really matters, and it's okay to kind of be a little bit below the radar in the beginning, but when it gets to the end of the game, you don't want to be the CGI Brett and Samoa. You want to offer something, and I don't think that she really was that interested in this game, and that's going to be her legacy. And I'm not of the opinion that anything ruins a legacy, because if you mention Tina Wesson to anybody after All Stars, they're still remembering the winner from Australia. So being insignificant on this season doesn't do anything to damage what she did the first time around.
I agree with that. Gabe, Kelly Wigglesworth, you kind of talked about her legacy, but any
I did. Before, I probably should have said that. I think part of her appeal is her staunch, old school sentiments. Like in her Ponderosa, I think she said something like, "I just wish we could vote people out based on who didn't do well in the challenge."
Yeah.
If all of her confessionals were like that, that's who she is, and that would have been something that they could have shown, and that could have been her development or lack of development, is to watch how she's kind of stuck in that season 1 mentality. But legacy, I don't know. I think I like what Colin said. It's easy to forget the bad, and I think people remember her and Sue and the snakes and rats. So that's what's going to be remembered long term.
Could we not have got one snakes and rats mentioned this season? Someone should have put that on the vote or something.
There's still going to be a jury speech. She'll have a jury speech.
Oh, yes, please do a word for word Sue, just changing the name. And oh yeah, you sucked on that, standing on the water challenge. you got beat by the person who can't stand properly, or so. You need her to channel her inner Sue Hawk. Patrick Wonky Clock, Kelly Wigglesworth. Was it a regret to vote her on?
Oh, no way. There was no regret to vote her on.
Yay.
Just the fact that she was even in the running was incredible, because even going back to Borneo, she wasn't really all that memorable of a character then, in a season where just about everyone was so memorable, especially after the merge. But just the nostalgia factor, and just the fact that she is the original runner-up of Survivor, and especially back in that time when being likable could have won her the game single-handedly, when Richard was obviously the better player, and she still almost won, and a lot of people argue she should have. I feel that her legacy would have been much better off if she had never come back, and she would have been this kind of mysterious, enigmatic player who, kind of went off the grid. But it was definitely nice to see her, and I don't regret it coming back. But, her legacy's kind of just, she's the original runner-up, and then meh.
That's one thing we should talk about. It's crazy that on the 20th of November 2015, we are talking about Kelly Wigglesworth getting voted out of Survivor. Like, who 8 months ago thought we would ever be talking about that? So we should take what we can get, I get. But I still think it's crazy she even came back. That's a good point. Alec, bring us home on Kelly Wigglesworth.
Well, I don't think her legacy was tarnished, but I feel on a season when the audience voted every single person back, yes, there can be maybe disappointment such as like Vetus or something like that, but I don't think it'll hurt the legacy long run, because we voted them on. We knew that some of our favorite players would be voted off early and stuff like that. We knew some of maybe the ones we didn't want on. Like, my dad didn't want Abby Maria back on, but he's fine with her being on and stuff like that. It's just like, so I don't think her legacy will ever be tarnished because she came back a second time. Like Patrick is saying, it's just good to have her back, because we didn't think she was going to play and stuff like that. Like, I don't think PG's legacy is tarnished. I don't think Vetus's. I don't think Terry's. And, like, I don't think anyone's legacy will be, like, hurt by it. Like, I think on a season that we vote the people in, they either keep the same legacy or they improve it. Like, Jeremy could improve his or whatever. Like, Sierra could improve hers, like, and she has a good legacy or whatever. Like, like even the ones like Wentworth and Kimmy, who like were pre-merge boot outs and stuff like that, they only can improve theirs type thing. It's just like, and so I don't think her legacy will be like. I feel that if she had gotten such a huge edit and then got voted out, her legacy would have been hurt more than her having this like minimal edit and then getting blindsided and stuff like that, because she wasn't like this huge character or whatever, and like she didn't play a different game than the first time, and this way it's just like she played pretty much the same game, but the game has just changed so much. So she's still the same Kelly Wigglesworth that she was in the first season. She didn't want to have an alliance in the first season, stuff like that, and this next season, the fact that she even came back adds to her legacy more than it hurts it, I think. So
I will miss you, Kelly Wigglesworth. They should have showed more of you. Damn you, editors. Cry. Let's move on. What are we saying here? I just realised there is only one old school player left in the game. Considering it started as old school having an advantage, that was very surprising. That was, Colin.
Yeah. Well, like,
what advantage did they have?
Well, the first couple episodes, it was all about there's old school versus new school, and what happened was that the old school players kind of dominated in the beginning. They had the control, and there was a lot of these new school players saying, like Spencer, like, oh, I didn't expect it to be like this. It became more of a social thing early on, and now we're left with Kimmy, and that's it. And there's 10 people.
I miss the days of Jeff Varner being on Survivor. That was awesome. All right. Let's get into some closing things. Bye-bye, Kelly Wigglesworth. We love you. Can't wait to see you at the reunion if you even show up. So let's get into it. I don't have everything here. I think Ben sent something through in terms of the predictions. What has he said? He said Clifton got a point Clifton, Clinton. Clifton got a point for last week for being closest for Savage. But this week, both Clifton and Colin, damn you, Colin, get 2 points because they both correctly guessed Wigglesworth at 11th. Damn you,
there
Colin.
You go.
You
Dang
knew
it, I had her
all
at
along
10th.
that this moment was...
Yeah, I had her at 10 too.
I had her like 7th or something. Why couldn't she
I
be
have
7th?
no clue.
And Cable lost his pony. Haha, Wrigglesworth is gone.
Wrigglesworth.
Oh wait, now he says actually Clinton got 2 points last week as he correctly guessed Savage as 12th. Clifton has spoilers. Clifton's got 4 points in like
Clifton.
2 weeks.
You need to come on the show and talk about these spoilers.
Where are you, Clifton?
Where are
We're
you,
supposed
Clifton?
to be? So the current ladder in predictions is me at 4th. I think by me it probably means Ben, but because it's not
Who's
me.
last in power rankings? Isn't he not?
Yes, I think so. But isn't that Jared's role? The ladder is me, aka Ben, at 4th. Patrick's at 4th as well. Or 4, not 4th. Sorry, you on 4, and Clifton is on 4. So Ben, Patrick, and Clinton are on equal first. Then Rossi and Colin coming in at 2nd with 2. Jared and Jordan coming in at 1, and the rest of us all suck and don't have any points. And my winner pick was Monica Padilla.
Oh, me too.
My winner pick was Vetus, so I think I got the worst of that. So
So there's predictions. That was a bit of a catch up from last week. So what else? The power rankings. Yeah, did you check that, Colin? I didn't get a chance to check that.
Well, as of last week, Ben was in last, and let's just see where we had
On our fancy new website. Thank you.
I think
Oh.
both Noah and
Yeah,
Colin
Noah
had
and
an 8.
both of us. We argued the whole episode, yet we shared the exact same opinion. We had her in 8th. Jared had her in 4th. What are you thinking, Jared?
Jared, come on the show and defend your non-spoilers. Yeah, that's cool. I got a point. So have we got the tally for power rankings now?
So that's 1 point for both of us?
Yep.
Okay, so then it's pretty much unchanged. I have 7 points now. You have 5. Jared has 4. Ben has 3. 1, 3.
Can I just say
that's how bad
that
Ben's
we
doing
even
in power rankings.
have points for that? Because I don't rank based on who I think's going next. I rank on players. So I have Keith down the bottom nearly every week, but I don't think he's going anytime soon. So it's dumb that we even do that. But anyway, gotta follow the rules. All right, let's get into some closing stuff. Some closing questions, and I think we should probably start with who is going to be going home next? And this is a hard one to predict, I must say. So, Gabe.
I don't think Joe can win 4 in a row. So if Joe loses immunity, he's gone. There's not a second thought.
Pat.
Yeah, I gotta agree. If Joe doesn't win, it's Joe. But if Joe wins, I'm gonna say Kelly Wentworth.
Alec.
If Joe doesn't win, it's Joe. But if Joe does win, I am going to say Keith.
Keith?
No.
I hate to say it, but I feel that just the fact that he's the only one that can beat Joe, and so I don't know. But I still think it's gonna be Joe. But if Joe wins immunity, that's who I think it might be.
I have to say, I hope you're wrong, and I
hope I'm on too. So
I can't see Keith going, so you better be wrong, because two of my favourites in a row. I blame you, Alec. And Colin.
Well, I do think Alec's wrong, but I've been spending the last couple weeks saying that, if Joe's gone, Tasha and Keith are the next targets as far as physical threats go. So there's something to what he's saying. But I think Joe will win at least one more time. And so I'm going to go with Wentworth.
Do we think Joe could beat the record and get 6 immunities and take out Dietz and Mike and Colby and Ozzy? That would be a new thing for the season. All right.
No, I don't think that. 100% no.
Please no. Please.
Keith is going to knock him out in one of these ball balancing challenges.
Yeah, bring the balls in. We need the balls for Keith. Colin, who is your dark horse?
I'm going to go with a real dark horse at this point and say Sierra, because I think that I don't think that trio, the Witches Coven, are going to hold power for very long. But I do think Sierra is the one that can actually coast by.
Why did you say a real dark horse?
Because at this point, it doesn't look like she has any shot at winning.
I guess so. We didn't talk too much about the Witches Coven, but Coven, as Kimmy says. Alec, dark horse?
My dark horse, I would probably have to say is Kimmy at this point, just because I'm hoping that next episode we see a little bit more like strategy from her.
I would love it if Kimmy Kappenberg won this season. Patrick, dark horse.
Oh, Keith, obviously.
Go Keith. Hashtag Totos. And Gabe, dark horse.
I'll go with Kelly. Just, she has no power right now, but the game could switch next week. And, yeah, I think that other group is pretty pissed off.
Alright, and let's bring this home with the final question. Who is the next to be voted out of Survivor? Did I not just ask that?
Yeah, you did. Asked it.
Yeah. Who's the winner, I think is what you meant.
Who is the winner of Survivor? Colin, do you want to host next week? Gabe, who's the winner of Survivor Second Chance?
The only reason I didn't say Kelly for this is because Jeremy had such a strong week. I mean, 2 idols and strong alliance. He's positioned as a swing vote. I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon.
And his baby got a mention, so that's always good for a winning boost. Paddy G, Wonky Clock, who was going to...
Oh, it has to be Jeremy. No other person.
Alec, who's going to win?
I've been saying the same person, like I said, since episode 3, so I still got to stick with Jeremy. Like, this episode just added to it, so...
Colin, who's going to win?
If there's any truth to this whole voting block thing dominating the game, Jeremy's the one guy that could go back to any of the people he just turned on, and they'll welcome him back again. I don't see any way that Jeremy's not winning. Tony's gonna win?
Well, Tony, Jeremy's Tony. He's doing exactly what Tony did.
Tony won
this is not an evolution. Tony did it 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
The fact that you all answered Jeremy makes me really hope Jeremy gets voted out. And again, it's not that I dislike Jeremy, it's just I don't like predictable stuff.
Yeah,
kind of like someone with 2 idols getting voted out. Yeah, it's too Mikey. Not Mikey B. Alright, that's it. We've talked about it. We've talked about Kelly Wigglesworth, and I'll probably bring her up next week again, even though she's gone, but we'll see her on the jury. Can't wait for that. Dynamic jury of Cass, Savage, and Kelly Wigglesworth. That's it for Survivor Witches Coven. Special treat next week as we've got a double episode, 2 episodes in a row. They're really powering through the season. So episode 10, we've got Like Selling Your Soul to the Devil. And then straight after, no time to think about it, no time to Oztopsy because we've got My Wheels Are Spinning. So we're going to be covering 2 next week, which should be fun. Ben will be back. So hashtag bring back Ben. So you can look forward to that. I think he finally found his pussy. It was hidden somewhere, but he's got it. Cat, that is Cat. That's it. Survivor Oztopsy, it's over. Are we doing hashtags? Okay, we are. Colin, I was doing good at hosting this until you started bringing down Kelly Wigglesworth, and then I'm just completely out of it. I will say goodbye to everyone, and as we say goodbye, you also give me a hashtag for this episode and for Survivor, and any other question I may have missed in this episode. So, you brought it up, so you've got to start, Colin. Goodbye, thanks for joining. No thanks for your comments about Kelly Wigglesworth, and give us some hashtags for this episode.
Well, strangely enough, I can't come up with a good hashtag for the real Survivor episode, so I think I shot myself in the foot there. Let's just go hashtag Wigglesworth wins. And for the Oztopsy, let's go with hashtag Are We Doing Hashtags?
Yeah, we shouldn't have done hashtags. Gabe, thanks for joining. 4:30 in the morning, I think it was, something like that.
Yep.
Hope you weren't too scared away by the Kelly Wigglesworth discussions. Thanks for being here, and give us some hashtags, courtesy of Colin.
For the episode, hashtag Purple Kelly, the new one. And for this Oztopsy, hashtag Where's Clifton?
Yeah, where's Clinton? Hashtag Clinton the spoilers. Patty G, Wonky Clock, hashtags, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. And for the episode of Survivor, shit breaks. And for the Oztopsy, let's go with Ben's pussy.
At least it's not Chubb. And finally, AC Alec Culver, thanks for being here. Give us some hashtags to finish it up.
You stole my hashtag. No. So the hashtag for the Survivor episode itself, I'm going to say hashtag trading block, voting blocks, not trading blocks. I'm in fantasy basketball mode, but hashtag voting blocks. And hashtag for this episode, like you mentioned it, but I was going to say hashtag Noah's Chub for wigs, like basically what it was.
I've got a massive chub for wigs. That's it. It's over. Goodbye, Kelly Wigglesworth. I will miss you. Make sure to subscribe. Go and visit our fancy new... yes, Colin. Go and visit our fancy new website made by Oz at Ryan, because it looks freaking awesome, if I may say so myself. And there on the website, you can find our social media and our articles for Cambodia and our recaps and our everything. So go and check it out. Everything's there. It looks really cool. Amazing Race is there too. One day we'll put out another episode. Who knows when it will be, but we'll do one eventually. So please check out the website. I am Noah. Sam will be back next week, maybe, if he's alive. Not that he's sick or anything, but you never know what can happen in a week. That was quite morbid. And until next time, we will speak to you on the train.